Senator Schumer and I had a good meeting this morning about Cap's deal and the other issues we've been discussing for some months now. I'm optimistic that very soon we'll be able to reach an agreement.
I'm very pleased to report my meeting with Leader McConnell went very well. We're making real progress on a spending deal that would increase the caps for both military and middle-class priorities on the domestic side that Democrats have been fighting for. I'm very hopeful, very hopeful. Nothing's done yet. There are some outstanding issues.
So that was Senator Schumer and Senator McConnell not taking shots at each other for a change. The House yesterday passed a budget bill that increased defense spending over the next 2 years by $300 billion, which had been expected and was requested. And now it's up to the Senate to take a look at that and find a way forward by Friday. Now, what about immigration? Does that fit into it at all? Let's ask Senator Bill. Well, we have a lot to talk to Senator Bill Cassidy about, including what he was forced to do on after a train accident involving almost the entire Republican caucus and trains in particular. But Senator, it was kind of interesting to hear Senator Schumer and McConnell talk civilly about each other, to each other, about the budget.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm hoping we've made a breakthrough. I have some concerns about it. Let me just and we're reviewing it, but at least we're finally getting to the point where Democrats aren't just stalling because they're trying to hold out for something which they can never get. So we're making progress.
So one thing they're trying to do, they say middle-class families. What is that code for? They want to increase spending for middle-class families.
Yeah, if you're talking about Democrats, it is some entitlement program that is not going to be infrastructure, which would allow someone to get to work and have a private sector job and better provide for his or her family. It's going to be something which expands the scope and reach of government. At least that's my initial take without knowing more detail, and frankly want to be a little suspicious of it.
Well, it kind of worries me, too, that, if we get something done, we are breaking budget caps to fund defense. Fundamentally, I like that. But our spending is not under control yet, and you're just voting to both sides are voting to break it.
Yeah, believe me, one of my concerns about this is the spending. And so I have to look at it. There's some things that, okay, we know that military has taken disproportionately the cuts over the last few years, and that our military readiness is down, and that that's probably costing sailors and soldiers and Marine lives from training accidents. On the other hand, we still got a spending problem. So one of the things I'll be looking at is, are we spending money when we don't have to, and can we do something about that?
Right. Of course, we have the priorities, and we had Secretary of Defense Mattis on Capitol Hill yesterday, and he made it clear, guys, you're killing me by not passing a budget. Here he is, cut 28.
Combination of rapidly changing technology, the negative impact on military readiness resulting from the longest continuous stretch of combat in our nation's history, and insufficient funding have created an overstretched and under-resourced military.
And he's a no-nonsense guy. He's right, and you can't budget if you're going to have continuing resolutions, correct?
Totally. And so you need to have certainty. The military is the most prominent example, but there would be other examples as well. But in the military, it's lives online and our nation's safety and security online, so people get it most for the military.
Right. Senator, lastly on this, the president kind of surprised people when he said this yesterday. Clearly, he was really aggravated about MS-13, the fact that we haven't eradicated them and people are pushing back on border security. He said this, cut 20.
I would shut it down over this issue. I can't speak for everybody at the table, but I will tell you, I would shut it down over this issue. If we don't straighten out our border, we don't have a country. Without borders, we don't have a country. So would I shut it down over this issue? Yes. I can't speak for our great representatives here, but I have a feeling they may agree with me.
What's your take on that? I think people are learning that President Trump speaks from his gut, but that doesn't necessarily help the budget process, does it?
No, it doesn't, but on the other hand, the president's clearly frustrated. We have a porous border with drug trafficking, money laundering, and human trafficking, and he's put a good faith effort on the table. Democrats are turning it down, principally over the issue of border security. We've got an opioid crisis very directly linked to drugs coming across our southern border, and Democrats won't vote for border security. So I understand his frustration. Oftentimes the president, after he speaks in frustration, speaks differently the next day. I don't think he wants the government shut down, but he wants that border secured, and so do I.
Senator Cassidy, now we have, I couldn't believe, I couldn't not be more disappointed about the Senator Coons, Senator McCain proposal, where you study the border and you immediately give DACA kids a path to citizenship. What kind of dumb idea is that? That's not even progress.
Yeah, I think the president actually made a good faith effort. He said, listen, I'm giving you more than I want to give you on DACA, but you give me more than you want to give me on border security. Not everybody gets everything they want. That's almost, it's a paraphrase, but a pretty close quote from his State of the Union speech. And I think the president has been willing to deal in good faith for border security. I just hope Democrats give border security.
Is that not going to be it? Is it not going to be in the February deal on Friday? Is DACA going to be on hold till the first week in March? Is that pretty much conventional thought?
Yes, it is, and I can tell you our lunch yesterday, just among Republicans, it's the beginning of the process of consensus among Republicans. We're not ready by Friday to come to consensus.
You guys get together a lot. I guess that's a good sign. Senator, I'm really disturbed about seeing you have to scramble and use your doctor skills as you were en route in West Virginia to your retreat, and what you're doing, saving lives instinctively, is just phenomenal. But we're seeing so many of these train accidents now. We saw one over the weekend. Then we just found out about an Amtrak train being broken apart at high speeds. And there's a problem. Our safety and rail system director has been on hold forever, and Senator Schumer just won't confirm him, yet he's not even controversial.
Isn't that amazing? The guy's nominated in July, passes unanimously out of committee in August, and Schumer puts a hold on him and has not released it yet. The guy who's supposed to be the head of our railroad safety ultimately, and he won't approve the fellow. Now, this is just the resistance going amok. It's just, if Trump proposes it, we don't care, and in the meantime, trains are breaking up. It is just time to call Senator Schumer out on this.
Well, I think on everything. We don't have a South Korean ambassador. There are so many key positions where there's non-controversial nominees. And listen, the administration was slow, absolutely, on the transition, no question. But since that time, this has been a joke. Senator, I got to bring you to something else that I found really disturbing. Number one, that not many people are running with this. The AP and Fox News have found out that we've gotten some more text messages between Peter Strzok, the disgraced FBI agent who for some reason is still working. There was all over the Hillary Clinton investigation, as well as the Mike Flynn evidently getting him in a perjury situation. Many people think he was set up. And now we find out about his vehement anti-Trump bias to the point that he might have hatched a plot to make sure that if there was an insurance policy, his words, if he got elected. Now listen to some of these text messages that they've gone back and forth on. For example, after the president gets elected president, here's what Peter Strzok, Page says to Peter Strzok. I bought all the president's men. Figure I need to brush up on Watergate. Okay, what does that mean? November 14th. God being here means in a policy meeting makes me angry. Lots of highfalutin national security talk. Meanwhile, we have our task ahead of us. Our task. They talked about a plan. Our task. Another one talks about James Comey getting his talking points together, and POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. That's September 2nd, 2016. Why does the President of the United States need to know about James Comey's talking points as it relates to Hillary Clinton's emails, which, by the way, he told everyone he found out about on news reports? What's going on here, Senator?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of concern. I saw an interview that Obama did with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday in April of 16, in which he just promises, I do not talk to the Attorney General about pending investigations. I do not talk to FBI directors about pending investigations. We have a strict line. We maintain it. And then you hear this text in which POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. It's not good, man.
Here it is. April 2016.
I do not talk to the Attorney General about pending investigations. I do not talk to FBI directors about pending investigations. We have a strict line and always have maintained it, previous presidents.
Just to button this up.
I guarantee it. I guarantee that there is no political influence in any investigation conducted by the Justice Department or the FBI.
Really? He's going to have a hard time backing that up the more we know. And this 1,500 more text messages got to get out. And I'll tell you, Senator Cassidy, I don't know this Inspector General. I know he worked for Bush and Obama. But a lot of people are concerned that we have to get this almost by mistake. Why isn't he being more transparent about showing these text messages? After all, he's investigating for us, the American people.
I don't know just how they're putting their case together. I can imagine they want to kind of build it brick by brick, perhaps not to tip people off, defense attorneys, for example. On the other hand, when you see something like this, it's like your hair goes on end. It's just like, wait, the president said he didn't know anything, and then now we know the president wants to know everything. It's incredibly concerning.
Now, look, a lot of people listen to the show know I'm changing my tune just a little bit. After 9/11, the President Bush said we need this in place in order to stop the next terror attack. And this FISA court made available the ability to wiretap an American citizen if they're in contact with someone overseas. And to do that, we'd have to collect all these phone calls. I trusted the government to try to do everything they can to watch our back because they weren't able to on 9/11, and they said they needed these tools. Now we find out this FISA court, which we don't know anything about, there's nobody defending or pushing back on the FBI when they present their case, might have been using opposition research, even if it was 100% correct, but it's unverified, to present their case to, in this case, listen to Carter Page's phone calls. But we know that Samantha Power asked for hundreds of American citizens to be unmasked. So I'm just wondering, is it about time, Senator Cassidy? I know you come from the medical profession, now you became a lawmaker, but is it about time for us to find out what's going on behind the curtain when it comes to this FISA court? Because it could be you or I next.
I totally agree with you. The Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, Mark Warner, are coming out with their report. And I think they'll help pull that curtain back and tell us, the American people, just how concerned we have to be. I'm willing to wait on that because I think they're doing a really good job of getting at it. But on the other hand, if they end up verifying or collaborating with everything we're else hearing, we've got to look at that FISA court.
It's unbelievable how complicated this is getting. But I do believe that a lot of people are fighting for their jobs and reputation, and it could get even uglier from here. But you chose to get into this business, Senator. I know sometimes you must be questioning yourself, but I appreciate how you're going to bat and fighting.
Hey, thank you, Brian. And by the way, thank the press. The press is letting the American people know this. And politicians complain about the press, but the press is the safeguard of our civil liberties. And just hats off to Fox and AP for finding this stuff out.
Yeah, and there's no opinion. This is fact. Read it as you will. Interpret it. Interpret it you must. Senator Bill Cassidy, thank you.
Thank you, sir.